Today we're going to take a look at the Destined Tabletop RPG. This is another superhero tabletop RPG. Of course it is, because y'all know that is where I live when it comes to tabletop RPGs. Give me all of the smoke when it comes to superhero role-playing games. Y'all know what's up here on RPG Elite. So we're gonna cover this, and I'm just gonna give you a very basic introduction to Destined, just kind of sticking your tabletop RPG toes in the pool, so to speak. But if you are interested in knowing a little bit more, I'll have some links down in the description, and I'll describe what those links are, or you can just go down there now and take a look at them. As I said, this is a brief overview of Destined. I'm going to take a look at a couple of the things, kind of the major things with the game. And then afterward, on the other side, I got the question of the vid. So make sure you stay to the end of the video so you can get that. Let's roll that transition. So the first thing I want to look at is the hero creation process, which is a 12-step process. And I'm not going to go through all 12 of the steps and everything. Again, this is a very basic overview of the game. So I wanted to touch on just a couple of the things that are in the character creation process. And the first one that they have that's actually a part of the character creation process, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, is the power level of the campaign. That's something that's normally set by the GM, and then you go ahead and you make your hero based on the power level of the campaign that's been set by the GM. That's normally what happens in superhero tabletop RPG. So this power level of the campaign is something that they did nail. That is something that's the thing in many superhero tabletop RPGs. So what do we mean by power level? The power level of the campaign is going to set the amount of points that you're going to get to create your character, because it's a point-based system. So there's 3 for Destined. One is street level. Think Daredevil, or The Question, or Black Widow, or Green Arrow. So that would be a street level type campaign. Next, let's step up from that. You're talking the epic level. So your threats are getting a little bit higher here. Talking Teen Titans, early X-Men. We ain't talking about later X-Men, because later X-Men are on that other level, you know what I mean? So we're talking about maybe 80s X-Men or something like that. Then you have the last one, and that's the Paragon. That's your Spider-Man, that's your Batman, that's your Captain America, that's your Iron Man. So those are the Paragons. Now, Destined doesn't have really high-level campaigns. It really should have 4 to have a more robust type of power level. And the last one, which is one that was in Marvel, which is my favorite game of all time, is Cosmic. The Cosmic level. Your Thor, your Superman, your Silver Surfer, your Wonder Woman. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff where you're getting up into the real high echelons, universe shattering. Green Lantern, he's in there too. So that whole 9, right? They don't have that. They said they're going to come out with some other stuff that might add that. I don't know. That's sad that they don't have that. And if you want something in that tier, pretty much you're probably going to have to make that up. And then after you get that power level down, then you got to go through things like your attributes. There's 7 of those, you know, like your strength, dexterity, intelligence, all the rest of that stuff. And you have other things. You have your skills, your powers, your background events, your career, your passions, all the rest of these other things that you have to put together for your hero. So if I would estimate how long would it take for a new player to make a character, I'm going to guess about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. It might take you a little bit longer. So it's somewhere in there, and this is for new players. Now they do have a kind of quick way to make your character. If you want to use that instead for your first time out, and then once you get a little bit used to the system and stuff like that, then come back and be like, okay, let's really make the campaign like we want to make it with the characters that we really want to make. So you could do that also. Skills is a thing in Destined. It's a major thing in Destined, and they should be, you know, in just about every superhero tabletop RPG or comic book, which is what it should be based on. You have characters with all these skills, things that they know how to do that is not super per se, even though they might seem like they are like super, like best in the world type of deal. And like your Reed Richards, who's the best at just about everything. You know what I mean? Or Bruce Banner, who's really high up there when it comes to his field of study. And so with skills, it's a percentile system, like I said earlier. And so when you want to do something in Destined, you roll percentile die. And then you see if you can roll under whatever the level of your skill or power or whatever is. If you do, then you have completed whatever task that you wanted to complete. And if you roll in like the 10 percentile of your ability, so let's say I have somebody, they have a 65 in something like biology, even though biology is not in there because the skill lists are a little short. You know, you have two sets of skills. You have your standard and your professional skills, not real long, probably just enough, but I would have expanded it to include a little bit more, put a little bit more love into that part of it. But it's easy enough to where you could probably get the gist of, you know, okay, this is how this skill works. And you could probably just put another label on another skill that's not listed. But anyway, so if you got a skill and it's 65 and it's biology, let's say, then if you roll something like a 6 or lower, you get what's called the critical success. The great things are happening, things unexpected that happen so well, it's crazy, right? Then you have the other end of the spectrum when you're rolling in the high 90s, and that means that, well, it's a fumble, and something bad happened, and it's just Providence is not looking your way. I mean, so that is how that works. And this can also be adjusted. It can be adjusted through the skill difficulty table. So some things, because of favorable conditions or whatever, it might be just an automatic. And then for others, it might be near nigh impossible once you start adding the difficulty to it. And that's good. That right there, always a good thing. The difficulty levels is always good. It gives some flexibility. You can add some tension by making the difficulty of something just a little bit higher, or you can let the flow go a little bit more by just making things automatic, especially if it is something that could fail, but it's not really major. Last thing I want to talk about today is powers and how they do powers in Destined. Now, powers are given a vague description, and that is because you get a little bit of freedom, or a lot of freedom actually, to describe the power. And this is something that's going to work well with an RPG elite and their mindset, because it gives you the basic mechanic of how it works, but it could be described in myriad different ways depending on what the power is. Let me give you an example. We're looking at blast here. So the mechanic of blast, okay, the mechanic of blast, it works like this. However, it could be anything: radiation, fire, cold, psionic, mental blast, or it could be something from a weapon like a gun or a shotgun, something like that. So now you're getting to the area of where you, as a player, can begin to get into some medium level role play out the gate when it comes to your powers. So you can have several descriptions of how it would look when this power goes off. Where it comes from. Does it come from your palm? Does it come from your eyes? Does it come from the middle of your forehead? I mean, how does this blast come? So you have these different ways for you to describe these things, and you have the freedom to be able to do that. That I like. Not even gonna lie about that, y'all. That one right there, I like that. And I like that a lot. Now with powers, you have what's called your core powers, and these are just the powers that make you super, right? So your lightning blast, right? Or your carapace armor, whatever it might be. These are powers that are just you. But you also have two very important things. One are called boost, and the other are called limitations. And a boost are little tricks and things that you can do with your powers. But you can only do so many of them because you have a pool of power points that you can spend to do these boosts. Now, if you run out of these points, you can't do any more boosts, but you can use your core power. So you're never left without using your power. But it's these special little things that you do with your power. You can only do so many of them until you recover the pool points that you use to spend on your boost. That's how that works in Destiny. And then there's the limitation. Things like, okay, you only have so much power in Iron Man's suit. Only worthy people can pick up Mjolnir. You know, you only have so much power in Green Lantern's ring, and it has to be recharged. All those things are limitations, and they have those baked in. They got a long list of limitations that should pretty much work. And you can also borrow limitations and stuff from other powers or things like that. You should be creative with these things. Maybe you even make up a new limitation or boost or something like that. But you have to work that out with the GM, just in case it doesn't have what you need baked into the core rules of the game. And I think that's kind of cool how that works, how that particular mechanic works, and it just gets your creative juices going automatically in the character creation process, and really can get you starting to think about like medium level role play before you guys even start to play. And that's always a good thing from an RPG Elite perspective. Now, as I said, this is just a very kind of quick look at the Destined Superhero Tabletop RPG. But if you want to know more about the game, then there are links down in the description. One is for a free preview. I think it's like 20, 30 pages, somewhere in there. And you can go ahead and download that absolutely free over on Tabletop Drive-Thru RPG and take a look at it. See if it's something that piques your interest. And then there's some other links down in the description if you want to go ahead and just buy the game. Maybe this is something that sounds interesting to you just from this brief one, but I would really encourage you to go and grab that preview and see if it's something that you like. And then you can also go there and buy the hardcover version of it. So it's not just the digital version that they have. They do have a hardcover version of it as well. If you got any value out of this video today, learned something new about a new game, which you probably did because I don't know a lot of people who know anything about Destined, then go ahead, do a brother a solid if you could, please, and just cross the like button. Thank you very much. Also, if you want to stick around, I come on here every Tuesday and Friday. I make videos. About tabletop RPGs. I let you know a little something about the RPG Elite way sometimes, just sometimes, you know what I mean? So if you want to stick around, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell on top of that. Okay, let's get to the question of the vid. When it comes to superhero tabletop RPGs, I don't know what it is. I do not know what it is. People have a hard time with this genre, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So let me ask this question of the vid. What do you like or dislike about superhero tabletop RPGs? Or better yet, what things do you have a hard time with superhero tabletop RPGs? I want to know, because I want to kind of hone in to try to help you guys, because this is my jam. I have no problem sliding into a superhero tabletop RPG, but I've heard more than one person say that, you know, they just don't, they have a hard time with it. And I don't understand. I really don't understand. It's probably because they don't understand the genre and they probably need to read some comics, but I'll save that for another video. So let's get some engagement going down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. And that, folks, is going to do it for me. It's going to wrap it up. And that means time to do my snaggle push.
So exit, stage left.
Hey, if you got a game this week, y'all, happy gaming. I pray it is an RPG Elite session that is more enjoyable, more immersive, and more fulfilling. Until next time, God willing, it's your boy Servant saying peace, 5,000 leets. Oh yeah, I'm out.